Greetings, I am Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. We're going to get back into talking about some anime series from the spring 2016 season. I only have a few more I do want to talk about, so I at least have this episode, maybe one more that I'm going to go over before going into some other topics. And I'm going to review them, and then I'm going to go into bringing them into your BESM games. So, let's begin. I have three more: Usakame, Seisen Cerberus, and Netoge no Yome. Now that actual title, which is the one I'm going to talk about first, has a little more to it, but I do not want to butcher it. So it's Netoge no Yome if you want to look it up. In English it translates to, "You thought there's never a girl online," is what is known in English. So our main character is a teenager named Hideki. Now he plays this MMORPG, massive multiplayer online role-playing game called Legendary Age. Now in it he proposes to a girl. And she tells him that she's not really a girl, she's a man. And this sort of crushes him. So 2 years later, he's in this guild called the Alley Cat Guild. And another member of the guild, Akko, has been bothering him a lot for them to get married in-game. Eventually, he does succumb to it. But it's around this time that they plan for an offline meeting. There was only 4 members of the guild, including Hideki. So they all 4 meet, and he learns that all 3 of them are girls. That he's been in this guild with girls, even though 2 of them are playing male characters, and the other one that proposed to him is a girl playing a girl character. So then they form a club at school together, doing it, and they have sort of adventures in between going online and going into real life, and it's sort of the comedy, and Akko has this sort of like idea that she wants to be online all the time and doesn't really like real life, and they're trying to help her out. And it's a very funny series. It does have some good comedy to it, some very lightheartedness. The relationship between all of them is very nice, and Hideki does like Akko, and sort of they do form this relationship both in and out of the game throughout the series that is very cute. So this series is a comedy. It has very good comedic elements. It's got kind of comedic situations more than anything, and sort of things that are going on that are like subtle jabs that are here and there that are very funny. It's a romance, of course, because Akko really does love the character of Russian, and she does sort of end up in this associating Russian and Hideki as the series goes on as the same person, but it's sort of this developing relationship while he also sort of falls for her more and more, learning that she's a girl, and in getting over the problems he had previously with being like sort of trying to get with someone that online, in a relationship online that turned out to be a man, which sort of had scarred him previously. This is also an online MMO anime. This has actually been like sort of a popular thing of having animes center around a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Most of the time people are being sent in there to stay in there, and they're being trapped in the world or teleported to this world that's based around it. But this one is more that they have their normal school lives ended. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to go for more of a school anime as it, or use this one, but I decided to use this one because it is a popular genre, and this is a different take on the genre because they can go in and out of it, and so they switch between them in that world as themselves, sort of playing place of their characters, and them in the real world. So you see, like, you can also then see what the graphics would be occasionally on their computer screen. So it's a very interesting sort of dynamic of the anime. Now I rate this one a 3. So after that I want to talk about Seisen Cerberus. So this series takes place in the continent of Kunan, where these 3 kingdoms are in this sort of delicate balance, always at each other's throats. Now there's this powerful dragon monster called Dagonzoth, and the sort of kingdom's power within these kingdoms unites to try to seal him away and get rid of him. And that's the entire beginning, that's sort of where the series begins off. So Hiro, our main character, his parents are the ones in charge of trying to seal dragons off, and things don't go correct. They don't go right. His parents end up getting killed. Now, so Hiro has sworn revenge against Dagonzoth and plans to kill him. So he's been training for years. He's finally grown up. His caretaker has been looking after him, who is one of the servants of Hiro's parents, who's been looking after him and training him. So Hiro then departs to the world to go hunt down the dragon and defeat him. And so along the way, he of course picks up a cast of characters of different people, of new friends, some people that are sort of frenemies kind of thing, while he competes with this person that's an arms dealer that sort of ends up being this main protagonist to the series so far. And of course his caretaker's in there too, that he's still going with him and trying to teach him more swordplay and sword fighting. So it's a fantasy world. There are dragons, monsters, all kinds of creatures, strange things, slimes, you know, magic, all these sort of interesting fantasy elements built in here. But it's also then, I would call it a sword and sorcery. It's sort of a subset within the fantasy that defines it very much better. That it's like, there's fighters which would have swords, and magic users that have sorcery, those that could use both of them. It's a world of fantasy that would be very much more reminiscent of something like a Dungeons and Dragons game, which is more of a sword and sorcery setting. And so that has the essence of it, that it's got this sort of fantasy setting like that. And of course it is an action adventure. They have battling monsters, adventuring around, traveling to places, searching things out, dealing with enemy soldiers that work for the arms dealer, dealing with soldiers in town if they get into trouble with them, dealing with the monsters that they're encountering, that they're fighting it out, battling out, while going on these adventures. So I do rate this one a 3. I think it's a little slower of a start than some of the other ones, and so that sort of draws me away from it a little bit. And the hero can be kind of a douche sometimes, just because he's sort of learning to deal with trying to go for revenge while still being good to his friends, which sort of has to balance out a lot of times, and I think that sort of draws me away from him occasionally. But he's not a terrible character, and I think his character develops longer as the series goes. It has been slower for me to get into the series more. So the last series I want to talk about is Usakame. Now, Usakame is a spin-off of the Teikyu sports comedy series. It's based on that series and this one are both based around tennis in general. This anime, though, focused around the Usakame High School tennis club and the girls that are members of it. So they kind of go on the comedical, sometimes slightly ludicrous adventures, similar to what they did in Teikyu, with these short episodes. This is another short anime, so it's only a couple of minutes long, so they have these very short little vignette episodes. The difference between them and Teikyu is they tend to actually play tennis more. They get into doing things with tennis, and usually a lot of their little comedical storylines are more grounded and deal with them dealing with tennis. So they get a lot less of the really ridiculous storylines and some more of, like, you know, normal everyday comedy. Now, again, this group of characters is actually one of the rival groups to the ones from the main series, Teikyu. The Usakame girls are technically a rival tennis club, so they're from another school and they would play against them. If the other girls would actually play in their series, this one they tend to more practice amongst themselves and do kind of funny things with that, and always plan out. It's always revolving around a lot of doubles tennis in this series too. Now I also rate this one a 3. It's funny. There's little funny parts in it that I do enjoy, but again, it's very quick episodes, so you have to kind of pick up on the humor very quickly, and I don't think the humor always translates as well for me as an American. Unfortunately, just some of it doesn't. But that's fine. I accept that, and I can usually pick up on it a little better than I think most could. But again, that's why I rated a 3. So those are the 3 series I want to talk about today. I'm going to have another episode right after this one describing using these in your BESM world, which is interesting for some of them, a little easier for others. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you think I missed when talking about these, please leave it in the comments below. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. It shows your support for the channel. Please subscribe if you already haven't. That's another way of showing your support for the channel. Become a citizen, become a member. If you think of anyone that would be interested in this video, would learn something from it, please share it. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.